And so this morning I'd love to talk a little bit about what happens next after this week of prayer. What does it look like for us as a church, for Christ Church Rio, for us as individuals to grow in this life of prayer? And to do that, we're going to look at John chapter 15. The words are going to come up on the screen. If you've got a Bible with you, you might want to have a look. John chapter 15. And we're going to start reading verse 1. It says this: I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. You already are clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine. You are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Today I want to talk about growth. How can we grow? How do we grow in our relationship with Jesus? How do we grow in our prayer lives? How do we grow in our faith and in our character? I wonder if you've ever thought, a bit like I do this often, I think, I'm not quite how I want to be. I want to be a bit more patient. I wish I was a bit more generous, more joyful. Why am I not how I want to be? How can these things be more and more in our lives? Well, Jesus wants you and me to grow. He wants us to grow in more ways than we could ever imagine. So how can we do that? First of all, from John 15, Jesus says the key to growth is, first of all, to remain in Jesus. Remain in Jesus. Okay, I have a very easy question for you. We're going to put up on the screen a national symbol, and I want you to tell me, which country is this the national symbol for? I told you it was very easy. Yes, it is Brazil. It's the national seal of Brazil. Now, many countries have a national symbol. I'm from England. I believe the national symbol of England is a lion. I've never seen a lion in England. I'm not quite sure why that is, so maybe someone could give me a history lesson. I think the USA, the national symbol is a bald eagle. In the Bible, we read that one of the national symbols for Israel was a vine. A vine, the root that grows through a vineyard. We have a photo. Here's a photo of a vine. It's a very appropriate symbol for the nation of Israel because it had been planted by God and they were blessed to be a blessing. They were meant to bear fruit for the whole world. But we read in Isaiah 5 this. It says this. I'll just read you a few verses from Isaiah chapter 5. The vineyard of the Lord Almighty is the nation of Israel and the people of Judah, and the vines he delighted in. But it continues like this. And God looked for justice, but saw bloodshed, for righteousness, but he heard cries of distress. And Isaiah is telling us that Israel was not being fruitful. In fact, the story we see throughout the Old Testament is that the nation fails over and over and over again. They're not obedient. They don't follow the Lord. So when Jesus says, I am the true vine, he's telling us that he is what the people of Israel were always meant to be. Just after Jesus' baptism, you may remember the story, he is sent out into the wilderness for 40 days and tempted. If you like, that's a sort of a version of the life of the people of Israel who were in the wilderness for 40 years. But in those 40 days, where Israel disobeyed, they fell away, Jesus remains faithful and obedient. He proves himself as the true Israel. And so that means Jesus, the true vine, now he opens up the way, not just for those of Jewish descent, but for all people of all nations to become part of God's family, to become children of God. The way to do that is to be planted in the vine, to remain in Jesus. You know, I think this particular image of the vine is so powerful. You know, Jesus says he is the vine. He's that big trunk thing at the bottom. He's the thing where all of the life and the energy goes. And then the branches, those brown sort of twiggy things. He says, we are like these branches. We're connected in to the vine. And what should come out of our lives? What should come out of these branches? Well, fruit, much fruit. And I think we understand this so well in our lives. I have a lot, and I'm sure you do as well, a lot of these things. I have a charger in my bag at all times. I have a charger in my home. I have a charger in the car. And we know that what happens is as soon as you take the charger out of your phone, it starts to lose power. Now, I'm sure your batteries are much better than mine, but mine starts to lose power quite quickly. It's the same in our spiritual lives. As soon as we become disconnected from Jesus, we begin to lose spiritual power. It can be very easy just to let Jesus into our lives for a few minutes, maybe at the start of the day. But once we've closed our Bible, once we've said amen to our prayers, it can seem like he's out the way for the rest of the day. So we can live our lives without him affecting us. Rather, we are meant to be a permanent dwelling place for Jesus. His presence constantly in our lives, reordering our lives, reshaping our lives. I don't know if you've ever had to help someone with directions. And sometimes you have to stay on the phone with them and you guide them and you say, no, you've got to turn right or turn left. Or maybe perhaps, you have a friend who's walking home at night and you say, oh, just stay on the phone with me. Let me just talk me through where you are, where you're going, what you're feeling, and I'll stay with you all the way through this journey. Remaining with Jesus is exactly like that. It's constant communication, sharing every experience, inviting him into every moment of our lives. I just want to say that this is not a pressure. This is not like a list of tasks. I need to be praying these kind of all these particular moments. It's actually just simply about a relationship. As I said, I'm from England. My parents live in England, and the way I communicate with them is through a video call. And sometimes I might forget to call them, maybe for a week, maybe for 2 weeks, maybe for 3 weeks or more. I forget to call them. But when I've forgotten to call my parents, does that make me not their son anymore? I don't call them in order to have a relationship with them. I have a relationship. I am their son. I will always be their son. But I call them to enjoy the relationship, to grow in the relationship. It's the same with Jesus. We remain connected to him because he loves us and because we might want to grow in relationship with him. Remain in Jesus. Second, the second way of growth is to expect pruning. We read this. I am the true vine and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. Now, every gardener will tell you the importance of pruning. Pruning is this process of cutting back a plant in order that it can be more fruitful in the season ahead. You cut back to allow for new growth. And Jesus tells us that every branch, even those that are fruitful, even those that are full of life, they will be cut back too. Let's just see that picture of the vine, the fruitful vine again, with all the grapes. Have we got that? The fruitful, no, the other one, the fruitful vine, yeah. Lots and lots of fruit. But pruned, this is what it looks like. And the next one, without all the fruit. Okay. It looks bleak. It looks destroyed. You know, the process of pruning is not delicate. It's brutal, it looks cruel, it looks painful, wasteful. You know, to prune a plant, essentially it looks like you are killing the plant. And that thing does not look alive. And there may be times, maybe even today, where it feels like that is what Jesus is doing in your life. Pruning a precious relationship, cutting away at our health, maybe cutting back a wonderful work opportunity or ministry opportunity. You know, times of pruning, they're going to hurt profoundly. They can feel sharp and severe. It might look as though God is being cruel, cutting away things that seemed healthy, things that seemed good. And obviously the question is, well, why would God do that? Why would that happen? I've got a bottle of water. And I'm going to put this bottle of water under some pressure and under some stress. I'm going to squeeze it. I'm going to test it. I'm going to, what looks like damaging it. Now, the question I've got is, why is there now water all over the floor? Well, the first answer is because I just was squeezing the bottle really hard. I was pressuring it. I was testing it. Well, the ultimate answer, though, is that the reason there is water on the floor is because there was water in the bottle. If there'd been orange juice in the bottle, there would now be orange juice on the floor. The pressure and the shaking didn't create the water. The water was there already. Whatever was inside that bottle was going to come out. Now, Jesus said we're all going to experience troubles, evils in life. He says every branch will be cut. Our biggest problem isn't the things outside us, but it's the things inside our own hearts. Your circumstances don't create what's in your heart, but the situations that happen to us simply reveal what was in there already. If there's jealousy or pride or anger in our hearts, pruning will bring them out. So when we face these kind of troubles, we need to draw down on the resources that we have in our lives. And so often we can discover that the resources we've been drawing on in our lives are things that might actually surprise us. That if position or power is the source of your life, when that is challenged, you will be crushed. If success or your success in your work or success in your family is the thing that you are finding for the source of your life, when you're rejected or let down by them, you'll be distraught. If the approval of others is your vine, is the thing that you draw your life from, when you're criticized, you'll be crushed. But Jesus says this: if you are plugged into me, if you remain in him, this pruning and these troubles, this pressure and this squeezing, it won't make you harder, it'll make you softer. It won't make you less human, it will make you more human. It won't make you seem like a fool, but it will make you wise. It won't make you meaner and smaller, but it will make you into a great and fruitful person. Because these things will help you to draw out Jesus into your life. In verse 2, he said that he prunes so that the branches will become more fruitful. Whatever the pain that pruning brings, the one doing the pruning is immeasurably good. This is a gardener you can always trust, and he will do what is best for our long-term good. So we grow by remaining in Jesus, expecting this pruning. But finally, we grow as we bear fruit. The fruit of the vine is the grape, but the fruit that Jesus brings is the fruit of his Spirit. And really this is about character. This is the stuff inside us. The fruit of the Spirit is love. It's how we treat others. Peace and joy, these supernatural experiences that they don't depend on your circumstances. Patience, well, that's forgiveness. Kindness, that's kind of unselfishness. Goodness, that's transparency and integrity. Gentleness, that's humility. Faithfulness, that's courage, self-control. This fruit is character. And as these fruits grow in your life, they can't help but overflow into the lives of those around you as other people begin to experience this fruit too. And the amazing thing is, all of this fruit, if you remain in Jesus, it's inevitable. As you remain in Jesus, Jesus promises you will bear fruit. These things will grow in your life. But it's not by our own human effort. The final words in our reading, Jesus' words, he says, apart from me, you can do nothing. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And those words have really challenged me. The branch on that vine, it can't make fruit itself. Actually, it needs the life source of the vine to be able to produce the fruit. And so often we can look in the mirror and we say, I want to be more patient with my family. You can look in the mirror and say, I need to be more peaceful at work. Or we can think, I'm going to try really hard to be more unselfish in my relationships. And especially in the Christian work that we do, wanting our friends and families to know a relationship with Jesus, longing for relationships to be restored, longing for people to be healed. We can think it depends on us, on our works and our efforts. But all this fruit is not something any of us can manufacture by ourselves. It's the work of Jesus. If you want more fruit in your life, you need to connect deeper and deeper to Jesus. Jesus is the one with all the resources you could ever need. He's the true vine, God's true Son, perfectly faithful. We're going to now move to celebrating communion. And as we do that, we're going to remember that at the cross, Jesus gave his perfect life in place of our imperfect lives. That he was cut off from God so that you and I never have to be cut off from his resources. This Jesus is someone you can trust. He's someone you can build your life on. He's someone who has given everything for you and I so that we can grow and grow and grow in unimaginable ways. Amen.